Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back. So, out of the blue, Konami announced the next event for Master Duel, and as it was leaked a couple of days ago, it's going to be our Synchro Festival, or so our Synchro event, just like the normal and rare festival and the Exceed Festival from a couple of months ago. So, top 5 decks that I'm definitely going to try out. Keep in mind is that all of the decks you will be seeing here, all of them, or at least most of them, are definitely playable in like ranked duel or ranked format, right? But keep in mind is that most of them are much weaker, so I guess the ceiling of most of these decks are lowered because no Helki, no links, no exceeds. Like for the first deck you see here being Adamancipators, Adamancipator took a huge loss. No Helki, no Union Carrier, no Granite, for example, no Prankets engine. So for the first deck, the first list, it's something that I'm definitely going to try out, being Adamancipator. Even though the deck, got a big hit with the ban list, no links, no exceeds, only synchros, it's still, I feel, one of the best decks. It's going to be a slow deck because of the excavating, but nonetheless, it's still very strong. Because, I mean, for the most obvious reasons, we still have Block Dragon at 3, even though it's much less consistent, because again, you want to have those Earths as soon as possible, preferably in the graveyard to, get your free Block Dragon as soon as possible. But, I mean, the strength of this deck is, of course, putting up big synchro monsters for negations. But one thing is something like Boral Savage is not playable because again you can't target a link in your graveyard to attach or equip to Boral Savage. So I'm looking at other level 8 synchros, well, other synchros in general, and of course we still have the Adamancipator Dragite, the level 8, but there's a catch. You know that Dragite only gets the spell and trap negation against your opponent if you have a water monster in your graveyard, and before you either had Helki, the Helki Fibrex, or the Pranket Water Monster, but those are not an option here in this Synchro Festival, so something that I'm not running in my regular build, but obviously is here, is this, the Dragite, the level 4 monster, which you can stack on the top of your deck with Signs as well. I think this is much stronger here in this particular festival, because again, no Helki, no Union Carrier, and I'm leaning towards the level 6 Synchro package a bit more compared to our regular ranked format. So I'm playing this one as well, the Leonite, the fire one that not special summons, but it adds one of the excavated Adamancipator cards. So you could add like Signs as well. So that's why Signs is much better here, I feel, in this particular festival. But and Coral Dragon might be strange, but as I mentioned before, it's a water. So you could potentially, if you really want to make Dragite live in your first turn or during your first turn, whatever, you could go for Coral Dragon to get that water monster in your graveyard. But okay, long story short, Adamancipator, I feel it's definitely still a strong deck for this particular festival. Guardian is still strong, hand traps are still super relevant, especially for your opponent as well, but Guardian is still strong against something like Nibiru, but you definitely won't Call by the Grave and maybe even Cross Out Designator, but that's an expensive card. But long story short, Adamancipator is definitely still a strong deck. While the second list, I think, comes to no surprise. It's a deck that I feel you can definitely play in Ranked as well. In Ranked is super broken because of True King of all Calamities, but again, Calamities is not legal. The Virtual World deck, as you see, has the capability to play, well, Exceeds as well, but again, Exceeds are not allowed, so it's only Synchro monsters, and the deck can definitely capitalize on that. Most notable here in the extra deck is Tzolk'in. Definitely keep an eye out for Ultimaya Tzolk'in to get a free a dragon synchro on your side of the field. Most of the time, where is it? It's going to be Crystal Wing, basically a free monster off of your your Ultimaya Tzolk'in. For the rest, I think this is a pretty stable Virtual World deck list with a couple of hand traps. Again, very stable Maxi, Ash Blossom, Duster, because true, Draco is still a deck. Konami decided to, keep Skildrake, I think, as well, legal at 3, if I'm not mistaken, for this festival. So I still think you need to maybe, main deck Spell and Trap Destruction for going second. Lightning Storm, maybe evenly matched, who knows. But Nibiru is strong, and I feel this is one of the tech cards, and that's Destrudo because of this one, because of Fleur. Destrudo makes it so that obviously you can make almost any Synchro monster possible with its level manipulation and free body on the field. You know, it's very easy to get on the field, but you could potentially go for Baroness as well, you know, thanks to the Strudel. But nonetheless, for this particular deck, not too many changes. Shen Shen is still a ridiculous card, Macro Cosmos on Lex, so again, very, very strong. The deck is still intact, but it loses its broken card being True King of all Calamities. But it's still, again, one of the best decks, if not the best deck, for the upcoming Synchro Festival. So, yeah, the deck lists are also in the video description, like always, right? So if you're not too familiar with each card, you know, just take a look at the video description for each deck list. The third deck, I think, again, comes to no surprise. Konami also gave us 3 loner decks, which are pretty okay. Of course, you know, if you have the cards, you definitely want to make some small changes, like most of the time some hand traps or something like that. But the third deck, again, comes to no surprise. It's, if you say a Synchro event, I feel that this is probably, well, depends. I was about to say probably one of the more popular decks. It might. You know, Shooting Quasar, Junk Speeder, the deck, where is it, this one? But it's quite expensive. I mean, if I look at the extra deck now, there's a lot of ultra rares. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this deck. It's not too easy as well, it's also super weak to hand traps. So if there is a deck I would main deck Crossout Designator in as well, it's in this one, next to Callby, because one Ash Blossom on Junk Speeder could lose you the duel instantly. So, but again, yeah, Crossout is an ultra rare, so you might not have the craft points or the card points for that one. But again, long story short, Junk Speeder deck, Synchron's Stardust, which, you know, very conveniently we got very recently. It's definitely a deck that, well, it's a strong pick, because any Synchro deck, if you say a Synchro deck, it's this. Plus, and this is also going to be a strong card, Hyper Librarian. Again, keep it on the field maybe. If your opponent wants to commit Synchro Summoning, you'll be getting those draws as well. But yeah, Junk Speeder deck. Not my personal favorite, but it's something that, I mean, you definitely want to know how the deck works, because if you know how the deck works, you can play against the deck, right? You know which cards to stop and so on. The fourth deck, this is a cool one, and I might want to try. I mean, if you take a look at the main deck, it's not really too expensive, other than, you know, the couple of generic cards, staple cards like Callby. I think the most expensive card for this particular deck is the Karakuri extra deck monster, being the level 9, which is an ultra rare. But other than that, most of them, okay, the Naturia monsters, Naturia Beast and Barkion, again, those could be semi-staple in some other decks. But they also have a secret pet, so I might craft this one for the event. But Karakuris, again, it's a really old school deck, synchro based. In my regular deck list, I had like Instant Fusion for Theseus and Sabersaurus, basically, and that's why, whatchamacallit, Solar Windjammer, the one you see here, is in the deck as well, to get free high-level machines on your side of the field to, you know, go for your Synchro monsters as soon as possible too. And you probably already played the solo mode for Karakuri. It's basically the same. You can go for your, you know, level 7, level 8 Karakuri monster, either go for Burei or Bureido, and then, you know, Synchro up for the level 9, and to gain control of the duel, play during your opponent's turn as well, switch positions, banish a card thanks to these, at least the high level synchros, or the trap as well for interruptions. So I feel that Karakuri is pretty much of an underdog deck. There is hardly any room, and I believe that's the biggest weakness of this deck, hardly any room for hand traps, so only double Ash Blossom and double Maxi. But I mean, you could play Imperm, Crossout as well, so again, that's up to you. But it's a very straightforward deck. You have Urgent Schedule here as well if you're going second to, you know, get those machines on the field. So I feel this is going to be definitely a very fun deck. I might actually craft this one because, I mean, it's not super hard or super expensive, I hope. Anyway, so the last deck list, I think, is no surprise as well. It's also one of the loner decks, but I mean, you again might want to make some small changes to the loner decks and craft the decks or cards your own, and that's Speedroids. The thing is that I've played Speedroids some time ago, and the fact that they can't rely on their Link monster now, the high speed rider one, I think is a big blow, but Speedroids still have a Cork Shooter, I believe the name is, their level 3 Synchro that, you know, kinda gives you more monsters on the field for higher level Synchro monsters like Crystal Wing, Baron is still there, you know, one of the new Synchros are in here as well. So I feel the deck is still very consistent, but you're losing on the link too, and I'm not, you know, a super specialist Speedroid player, but the deck is obviously still playable, but the loss of the link I feel is big, but I mean, the deck is still consistent with the, you know, the 3 spells, the Searchers, the Special Summons, and the Monster Reborn. I believe, right, should be, yeah, the Monster Reborn, yeah. The Trap, again, you know, discard. You could also, I had it in there as well, the Wind Charmer, but it's an ultra rare. You, like, discard another wind card as well to search something, but it's an ultra rare, so I'm not sure. If you want to, you know, play that as well. But, I mean, long story short, Speedroids, it's definitely... I feel this is going to be a popular one for the event. So, for me, that's it. Again, I might have overlooked cards, I might have overlooked decks, so definitely feel free to, you know, leave suggestions of decks that you might want to play, or which deck are you going to play for the particular event. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like. If you enjoyed the video, Litem signing out. Peace.